Nice and easy now. Nice and... Oh, hello there, everybody. Welcome back to the Daily Kerbal. You caught me at kind of an awkward moment here. I happen to be in the midst of performing an orbital rendezvous. In all seriousness, though, I planned on doing another moon landing today, and I realized that the task list that I have ahead of me requires, 2 launches and orbital maneuvers and getting out into orbit with 2 vessels, and I figured, it's probably not worth putting that whole process up. And it's not like you guys don't already know exactly what's going to happen. So let me brief you on the situation. I have modded, you might notice, this is still our Freya class space construction, only this time I have modded the nose for docking, and right down there below us is slowed to almost perfect velocity with them is the Freya lander. That's our brand new spacecraft that I put out into orbit earlier, and right now I was just about to begin our docking maneuver. So if you were I hope you don't feel disappointed that I left you out of the incredibly exciting task of performing an orbital rendezvous, but we are at any rate right now about to perform a docking maneuver, so at least you're going to get to see that part. You're welcome. Seriously, I just figured this is probably the best way to do this. You've seen me orbit the orbit Kerbin so many times by now that you're probably bored of it. The rendezvous maneuver itself is not particularly interesting. There is an element of interest and excitement to be found in the docking maneuver, I suppose. If you can call it that. So we're going to do that, and then once that is done, I am going to introduce you to the crew, introduce you to our new lander, which, by the way, this time is loaded with science. We should be perfectly prepared for a scientific mission this time, to bring home tons of data, hopefully at least another 300. 280 is what I want to bring home at the least, because we need, about 320 science in order to unlock 2 of the techs from that particular tier of the tech tree that we want to get. And, right now I am carefully maneuvering us into a position of alignment with the Freya lander. If you'll recall, by the way, our vessel is named Freya. And so I decided that, naturally, the landing ship that should be, docking with the Freya lander, with the Freya, should be the Freya lander. Now, there are several things that, I'm a little worried about. I don't think I've ever... This is not a combination that I have utilized before. I have not used Clampatron Junior docking ports with Rockomax size vessels. I'm worried that it might be compromising the vessel's stability a bit, but that kind of stuff has more of a meaning in atmosphere than it does in vacuum. So hopefully that's not a problem. Also, I'm probably going to get mad again that I'm not going to be able to perform. Oh my goodness, that is one of the most beautiful dockings I've ever performed. No bounce, no nothing. It just attached right on. Perfect. Okay, so this is the remains of the rocket that brought the Freya lander into orbit. The Freya lander was piloted by our brand new, enthusiastic new pilot, Danzer Kerman. And the command module is piloted by Jebediah Kerman, who we all know and love very well. And Gemstead Kerman is going to be our scientist. She is going to be the only one of the 3 Kerbals here who I am definitely sending down to the moon, because she's the one who's going to be able to reset our science experiments if we need. The only question that remains, obviously, is who's going to be the one to pilot her. Well, I'm not sure about that yet. We're going to have to find out. But first of all, let me just see, because we still have some rocket fuel left in this larger rocket here. And I realized that I was very lucky, by the way, with the orbit. I don't know how I managed to do it this well, but as a learning from the mistakes that I made with the previous Freya flight, I managed to perform a much better gravity turn this time. I even rid us, against my better judgment, I rid us of an extra fuel tank on the on the original rocket to see if conserving weight would help, and it did. We made it up with... I actually managed to get into orbit using nothing but the main rocket. As you see, even the Freya lander was able to do that, although this is definitely a much more lighter craft than the other one is. Anyway, let me quickly see if the refueling still doesn't work. It does now! Interesting that somehow refueling all of a sudden has decided to work for us. I wonder if that had to do with the command pod, with one of the upgrades that I purchased. I'm not sure, but it doesn't really matter. I'm just going to fill this tank. There we go. You know, it's minimal and probably doesn't matter at all. But hey, now we have it. Okay, let's jettison this second rocket over there. Alright, and then the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to start flying to the moon. Let us first... This doesn't really have anything to do. I just, you know, I do it for the sake of formality. I like to role play in games, and I like to pretend that you're going to see more evidence of this later on. I'm going to pretend that I actually do care about, you know, the stuff that the game doesn't necessarily care about, like where the Kerbals are at any particular time during the flight and what they're doing. All of my Kerbals are not currently in the command module, which is as it should be. Here we can turn on the interior overlay, and then we are on the dark side, but you can see the interiors, the interior modeling of the spacecrafts, and you can see in our command pod, there are our 3 brave Kerbals. 2 up top and 1 below. Alright. Enough of that stupid stuff. Let's go to the moon. Let's go to the moon and land on that sucker. Meantime, I'm still remembering that we have a ton of contracts left to accomplish. We're still gonna have to attempt a precision landing there. I'm probably gonna do that with a space plane, or you know, an airplane, just generally. I might even do that off camera because that might not be that interesting. And then we also still have to rescue Samri. All that stuff is far in the future. For now, let us just plan. Nope, that's not what I meant to do at all. I meant to add a maneuver. Let's go to the moon. Bit closer if possible. Yeah, that'll do. Okay. Let's warp ahead in time. And again, we're doing a lot of there are a lot of first times for us here. This is the first. We already know that the Freya 4, what used to be the Freya 3 command module, is capable of flying to the moon and back. But we haven't actually tried to see if it could do it carrying a lander with it. Now, I don't foresee a lot of trouble, considering we arrived back from the moon last time with plenty of fuel, and I actually burned more fuel from the ship itself last time in order to get to orbit. So we're starting out with more fuel, and we should still have plenty left by the time we get back. Nonetheless, though, there's still plenty of chances that this could go wrong, so I'm going to quick save here. This is a point from which we can easily come back. And let us just begin burning. Quickly check, because it usually happens at this time that I forget that 2 engines are active and then they both start firing. But no, we're doing good. We're making slow progress, and we're going to miss the node by a lot, but we're still going to easily fly by the moon, no problem. While this is happening, let me very quickly describe to you what exactly this lander is. It utilizes the brand new lander can that we have not yet used. It is called the TC4N tin can, right? And on the top of it, just so that you know it doesn't look like it's got a tiny neck in between, I added a science lab. It's a materials bay junior. We got the barometer, obviously. We got the thermometer on the other side, and the mystery goo on the bottom. That's going to be the science module that they use. And then there are no ladders on this, but on the moon, Kerbals can just jump up that high, and they also have EVA packs, so it's all fine. We're going to be using a Poodle engine to land. I debated a while using the engines. I can't remember their names, but there are those very, you know, space rocket style engines that you place on the side of a fuel can. 2 of those engines would have made up for the thrust of this, but this one is still slightly more fuel efficient than putting 2 of those engines on the side. So there's a lot of firsts. This is the first time the Freya lander is going to attempt to land on anything. It's the first time the Freya lander is actually going to fly by itself. The first time we find out if the Freya spacecraft can actually carry this pod all the way out to to the moon and come back with it, that's a lot of firsts. In an actual space program, this entire thing would have been split up to like 5 or 6 separate missions. But hey, yeah, we missed our node by about a minute. Hopefully that shouldn't be too much of a problem. Gonna have to keep an eye on our encounter. Also, these brand new landing pads that we have, these lander legs. This is another reason I debated taking those side-mounted engines instead of the Poodle, because just look at that. You can't tell because the legs are kind of folded in, but these just barely manage to reach the bottom, and I'm pulling these down about as far as I'm comfortable letting them go. Those side-mounted engines would not have reached down that far. And, the reason I'm worried about this is just because I want, if we land on a slope, then that thing is falling down. Okay, let's see how close we can get to the moon on this course. 800,000 meters, 700. Closer the better. Considering that we are definitely not just flying by the moon this time, but actually we're actually definitely going to orbit it. 400,000? The moment it starts climbing, I know we've passed the sweet spot. 300? 200? Well, just under 300 right now. 200,000. I'll stop at 100. Or if it's, yeah, see, it's slowing down already. It's not ticking nearly as fast as it did a minute ago. There we go. 100,000, that'll do. Burnt quite a lot of fuel getting there, but it's fine. Alright. And away we go. Away we go on our second mission to the lunar surface. This is already our... Oh my goodness, how many times have we been to the moon now? I lose track, but we had that one time. We had that one time with Moho. I think Moho made it out there once. Orion made it out there several times. I think we've been out there. This might be our 4th time to the moon. I think this is our 4th time to the moon, but don't quote me on that. Or, if you quote me in context saying that I might very easily be wrong. Oh, look at that. Orbiting the moon is going to take no effort at all. I'm going to set us to the retrograde direction. There we go. Alright, let the ship orient itself retrograde. Hang on, I gotta turn on... I guess it doesn't work that way. We actually... I'm just realizing that we actually have a lot less fuel than I thought we did because of the fact that it's looking at the entire fuel that we have, including the one on the lander. And also, by the way, after I sent the lander up into orbit, I realized that the lander didn't have any monopropellant on it, which means that the docking maneuvers are going to have to be 100% done by the command module, which is fine because we're going to leave a pilot up there anyway. Eventually, by the way, this is just something that I know is going to be a thing. The game is going to ask us in a contract to recover a vessel from the moon. And what we are doing right now does not count as that. The vessel that returns to the moon is this one, the command module. And this one is not actually going to land on the lunar surface. This one is. And I can't bring a command, at least I don't think, theoretically, I'm not able to bring home a lander because it's not built to survive atmospheric re-entry. So, yeah. There's that. Still have our quick save from earlier. I'm also remembering that I believe the last time we landed on the Midlands. Again, something I'm not entirely sure about. And look at that, we're burning through fuel a lot faster this time. So there is a serious danger of us not having enough fuel to get back home. I'm going to bring in our orbit as low as I can, as low as I'm comfortable with. We might have fuel left over that we can pump into this. I'll bring this down to... I'll bring it down to 20. There. So that our lander uses as little fuel as it possibly can. So, anyway, what I was... in the future, we're going to have to find a way to build a spacecraft that can go to the moon, land on the moon, and go back all in one, you know, without all this docking nonsense. That might even be possible right now. This is the only way that I, with my limited knowledge of space travel and this game's inner workings, am able to perform. So, yeah. Alright. Retrograde automatically, and then let's get in an even orbit here. Still sure I can't? No, I can't. Also, just make sure that crossfeed is disabled. I imagine if this engine runs out, then it's going to start using from there. That shouldn't happen. Let's bring this orbit down. Once our orbit is complete, I will make sure that doesn't go into the surface. That's fine. This is a very low orbit over the moon right now. Maybe lower than I think a command module is supposed to go. But, you know, okay, anyway, for a second, I'm going to jump back to the Space Center because I want to check our science archives and see which area of the moon we landed on last time. The moon's midlands is where we landed. And what we took with us, we had a materials study, a temperature scan, an EVA report, atmospheric. Yeah, we had everything. So we did actually manage to... The only time we didn't have science was when we were on our round voyage, right? The one where we orbited for the first time. And well, actually, this is a good opportunity for me to take a look at this. So this is 32 plus 48 is 80. That's 80 science from that. 100 science, 232 science, theoretically, from this whole thing. That is, that is not enough. We're gonna need more. That's enough to unlock one tech on the tree that we need. I doubt that I can perform 2 landings with this craft. While we're here, we can terminate the debris. Where's a good spot to land? How about that crater? It would be a dark landing. We don't nearly have enough fuel to perform an orbital, you know, to adjust our orbital incline. But I could technically undock right now from this. In fact, I think I'm going to. Yeah, let's... I'm going to be scrambling a bit here. So, Gemstead, get in there, and transfer crew, Danzer, get in there. Okay, so Jebediah is going to be the one staying up in orbit this time. Again, actually, and then Danzer is going to be the one landing. This is how I had to do this quickly. Okay, undock. All right, switch over to the lander. SAS to retrograde. Ever so gently, just away so that we don't, don't do that. We don't burn our ship. And then it's not going to work. Nope, I didn't do it in time. That's fine. It's perfectly fine. Our periapsis is still well above. We'll find another spot to land. We'll do an orbit. There's our flag. You can see the little marker down there on the bottom, on the surface of the moon. That's where we landed last time. All right. Let's check our EVA. EVA report will tell us where we are. This is the Midlands. Makes sense since that's where the flag was. Okay. This is going to help us map it out. I've also been told that there exists a cheat in-game somehow where you can make the biomes visible. That's a cheat, honestly, that I feel justified in using if I seriously want to. But for now, we're going to do this the proper way, and we're just going to do an orbit, perform EVAs to find out which biome is where. Like right here, for instance, what's this place? This is the highlands. This right here is the moon's highlands, so I'm going to try and put us down there. Oh, she's still inside. Outside. Board. Alright. So let's spin around the moon again. And then remember that right halfway between these craters over here is where I'm going to want to set her down. Provided that the position doesn't rotate away from that, it shouldn't. I wonder if all these craters are separate biomes. If going there actually would yield something different. Or it might just classify it as the lowlands. Some biomes here, I believe, are classified based on their height over, sea level, as much as the moon can have a sea level. And some of them based on specific areas, right? Like on Kerbin, for example, just because a desert is roughly the same height as the grassland, it's still a desert. And the polar regions are also different. So right about now, I think we can start slowing down. To retrograde. Go. Keep an eye on our fuel. Right here. This is where we want to end up, roughly in this zone. Okay, I'm going to try a different kind of landing maneuver this time. So I'm going to leave it right about there. Yeah, that should be good. Okay. And then when we're almost, let me quickly EVA right now and see where we are. We're still over the highlands, so basically from now on, if we land, we should be fine. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to burn right now, like that. And I'm going to try to push, I'm going to burn in this direction so that our descent becomes vertical. That's probably going to take too much fuel. But it would make the landing process, I think, a bit simpler. I actually think I'm even going to orient myself a little bit like this to make the actual maneuver a bit easier. This thing doesn't have a stability enhancer on it, so maneuvering it isn't nearly as easy as the other one was. Okay. I'm going to set my my speed meter to the surface speed because that's what really matters to us right now. All right. 217,000 feet. Meters. Jesus. I've been watching too much Apollo movies. The moment that I hear astronauts talking about feet per second, I'm like, what? Please use a civilized measurement. That's right, you heard me. A civilized measurement. All joking aside, though, inches and feet are very arbitrary measurements. They are based on actual feet, and well, the inch is based on the length, I believe, of the last section of your of thumb in general, and feet are an actual foot long, right? So that's why those measurements were used from ancient times and medieval times on, is because they were the easier ones to use. And then a French scientist who's I think he was a mathematician, whose name currently escapes me. He came up with the idea that why have to bother with these stupid 12 inches in a foot nonsense, and just have something called a meter. We'll decide that this is a meter, and then we are going to use a centimeter, which is a hundredth of a meter, a decimeter, which is a tenth of a meter, a kilometer, which is 1,000 meters. These are all Latin numbers, by the way, and millimeter, which is a thousandth of a meter. I mean, all these conversions are just so much easier. Forgive me, by the way, for ruining this majestic moment of us setting down on the moon for a second time with talk about, measurements and what makes sense and what doesn't. Every measurement makes sense in its own way. It's just, I don't think anybody can honestly argue that the only reason that inches and feet stick around, and pounds for that matter, stick around is because, no other reason than we got used to them. Meters and centimeters are just so much more convenient. All right, nice and easy. Cut the engine. There we go. That has got to be one of the smoothest moon landings I have ever performed. So this episode is working out wonderfully. Welcome back, everybody, to the surface of the moon. We have done it for a second time right now. It is somewhat more routine. Definitely none less majestic. So, Gemstead. Congratulations on being the second Kerbal to walk on the moon. Alright, let's drop her down. Boink, there we go. Let's take a little stroll. There's no reason to do this. Like, literally everything that you want to do on the moon you can do right outside of the spacecraft. Everything except, even, from just the ladder on the crew hatch. You can basically just right-click, collect the surface sample from up there, take the EVA report, and go home. But, I mean, come on. How could you go to the moon and not do this? How could you, like this, for instance, how could you not jump on the moon if you go to the moon? Come on. Let's be real now. All right, let's plant the flag. And now this is, I believe this is what I did. This is something to help, myself and, make sure that I know exactly what it is that I've done and what I haven't. To commemorate, first of all, I like to mark where I've been. And this is how I name my flags. This is the Highlands Explored flag. And then just because, I want the astronauts who've been here to be commemorated, we're going to go, it's not Gemested, it's Gemstead, and Danzer, Kerman, Command, Module, Pilot, Jeb. Just Jeb. We all know who Jeb is, right? It's Jeb. All right. Well, everything, all that's been fun must come to an end. It's come to a close, so I will take a surface sample. I will keep it. I will take an EVA report. Wait a second, I'm on the Midlands? What are you talking about? How am I on the Midlands? I flew all the way down to the Midlands? Or did I walk all the way down to the Midlands? I was flying over the Highlands a minute ago. Hang on. What if... I have to do this for science. Am I, on the border of a biome or something? Or did I fly too far? Nope, these are the Midlands. Well, alright, people. I'm going to pause this recording here, and I'm actually going to take a spacewalk. Be back in a second. Wave, hello. Down there is the lander. So here's what happened, people. I climbed up on top of this little mountain here. First of all, we are still, take a look, we're still in the Midlands. So obviously me walking all the way from there to here doesn't really make much difference because, look at that. On the map, it barely even shows me far from it at all. I walked down south in the direction of this crater, right? In order to, climb up on top and take a little look around. And as it appears to be right, when I took the EVA, I was roughly halfway, somewhere over here, I think. And looking around here, my conclusion, if I take a look, like, and that's the direction that we came from, that's the direction that we were going, that's the direction we're going to take off in. The conclusion that I came to is that I think I overshot it. When I took the EVA report, it was somewhere up here, right? This was the highlands area. And then we flew over down here into what I think is something of a basin. I also took a little look at the console commands, by the way, and I now know how to activate exactly the biome cheat. I haven't done it yet. I'm seriously considering it just because it would be very frustrating for me to land on the moon and then not go home with enough science. So I decided that I'm actually just going to do it right now and see if my it's under cheats, I think. See if my I checked this out a minute ago, so I wouldn't have to do this, but there it is, biomes visible. All right. Okay. So what? First of all, it looks like those craters are separate biomes. It's nice to know. And then I knew that these big craters were all also separate places, but it looks like, if I'm not mistaken, I think I literally did land like right in sort of a peninsula right there. See? I'm assuming that this area is the highlands right here. Or it could be the white one. It might be that I'm in the gray one and I want to be in the white one. Doesn't seem likely because if I look around up here, craters over there, that area doesn't seem, although maybe it does a little bit higher than that one does. But yeah, look at that. Look at that. I'm almost convinced now, yeah, if this is the lowlands, this is the midlands, and then this is the highlands. Look at how unlucky I was. I managed to land in the one patch of midland that is on this entire area. Okay, so switch this thing back off again. So basically, here's what I'm going to do. I'll cut this out so you guys don't have to watch it, don't worry. I'm going to walk all the way back to the... This is the first time I've actually done an actual moonwalk of any significant duration in Kerbal Space Program. I'm going to walk back to the command module, and we are going to fly it a bit more in that direction. Just try and get us onto the what is considered to be the highlands, all right? Don't worry, I promise you won't have to watch me do all this. I'll see you back as I start the landing phase for a second time. Hey everybody, we're back. We are flying over the surface of the moon, and I'm a bit nervous because I don't like my landers to have this much vertical speed. We are heading in the eastern direction, and I was just about to start my descent maneuver. So we gotta bring this thing up to, there we go, okay. And set her down here. Burned through a bit more fuel doing this, not pleased about it, but the science needed to be taken. Also worth mentioning is that I, back where we started from, I did manage to collect some of it because science experiments, even when done somewhere, are still worth something. So I picked up and we didn't have a mystery goo collection from the Midlands either. So we did that. Now hopefully this will actually be right. Alright. So Gemstead, take an EVA report from the Highlands, thank goodness. Oh my gosh. This is so frustrating. Take the surface sample. Alright. Now, I didn't take up the flag. That flag is still out there. So actually, you know, now that I think about it, I believe planting a flag on the moon is an XP requirement, so I'm going to get back in now that the scientist has taken the actually no, not yet. First, let's nope. Fuel. All right. Ouch. Let's activate the RCS. Carry her up. And let's do our science experiments. Put her on this side. Alright. First off, observe materials bay. 100 science, collect it. And we got the pressure, collect it. And we got the mystery goo. Collect it. Did we collect this one? We didn't. Okay, collect that data too. Thermometer. Gotta go closer. Log temperature. Collect it. Alright. Now restore both of these just in case. Alright. That's all the science that we can pick up from here, minus the crew report. We'll get that in a minute. For now, you can get back inside. And let's EVA Danzer. Disengages our SAS because we just removed our pilot, but that's fine. Now Danzer herself also gets to walk a bit on the moon, as long as she already came all the way down here. And then let us plant a flag. And I shall call this flag, actually, the Highlands. Explored. Crew, same as before. Alright, that should do it. Not much else for you to do here, Danzer. The science, the nerdy sciencey stuff has already been taken care of by your colleague. So let's get back on board. Could probably jump up that high too, but might as well use this EVA propellant if I have it. Alright, now, ladies and gentlemen, the hard part. Getting back home. Let's see how much the remaining fuel that we have is good for. Takeoff is smooth. I know this because I've already managed to try it once. Ooh, SAS is not on. That's troubling. It is now, though. Okay, and we want to orbit this way. Yeah, we'll make it equatorial and then do corrections if we have to. For now, I think this is the way we want to... Yeah. Alright, retracting landing here. While we're up here, is there science for doing this? Space near the moon. Yeah, we don't have it from space near the moon. What about Mr. Ego? Space near the moon. No, we don't have any of these. Let's take these then. Let's quickly take these experiments. Log pressure data. We didn't collect this? Oh, crap. Alright, temperature then. But I collected this data. Didn't I? I swear I collected this. Oh well. Forgot that I don't have my fuel viewer on. Alright. Now, let's see if we can establish orbit. Let's burn a little bit harder. I'm going to burn up to an apoapsis of, I don't know, say 20,000? Sound reasonable? Also see if we can't even that out a bit. That should be good. Sufficient to orbit. Let's actually set a target here. Alright. Let's orbit the moon. See how much easier it is doing it from here than doing it on Kerbin? Oh man. All that stupid atmosphere just gets in the way of our exploring space. Like, why do we even need it? We should just get rid of it. I mean, it's not even like our lives depend on it or anything. Stupid atmosphere getting in the way of space travel. Okay, how are we doing? Fuel's gonna orbit us easily, and we should have some left over too. It's nice to know. We're burning a little too fast now. We do want it to catch up with us, actually, so this is not bad. I am going to raise the periapsis somewhat, just because 5,000 meters scares me. That is a scarily close to the surface. We're not set to prograde. Darn it. Turn to prograde. Oh, look at how fast this vessel turns. So much better. Alright. There we go. That's better. Okay, now we just wait for the ship to catch up to us. Shouldn't take too long. We're on a higher orbit than they are. That intersect point is actually very close. 2 more orbits, maybe? 3? 3 more orbits. 2 to catch up, 1 to slow down. Or speed up, actually. We are going slower than the command module is. Now, I think I'm just realizing that this is Jeb's second time of ferrying people to the moon, but not actually walking on it himself, poor guy. He's the Jim Lovell of the Kerbal Space Program. Oh, that's not fair to say, because the second time Jim Lovell didn't land on the moon, that wasn't... Oh, wow. I don't even have to do anything there. That was... I mean, I might as well. That was too much. Look at that. 0.1 kilometer separation. That is beautiful. Alright. Well, all in all, ladies and gentlemen, I can pretty much summarize that this mission is a resounding success. We have done extremely well. We have plenty of fuel left over, assuming, of course, that this time the refueling actually is going to work. I am not going to bother carrying the lunar module back with us to Kerbin. It's dead weight. We don't need it. It's not going to survive re-entry anyway, so we might as well just leave it out here in orbit of Kerbin. And in fact, I've come up with a brand... No, orbit of Kerbin. Just orbit of the moon. Switches to target speed, please. Thank you. Okay, and basically I'm going to be using the thrusters on this engine to rendezvous, which means I don't automatically set my course, please. All right, there we go. I'm just going to use this to bring our relative speeds down. All right, I can speed up now that I did that. All right, there we go. Okay, then I'm going to put us right on course, and I'm going to kill our relative speed. That's pretty much dead. Okay. Now we switch over, and first of all, we orient ourselves towards it. Too far, too far, too far. Okay. Do another lap. All right. There we go. All right. Now switch over. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Oh no, it's gone. I can't find it. There it is. All right. Set her as target. Come on. That'll have to do. Trying to set the docking port as the target just to make it more accurate. But let's go. Okay, we are currently moving away from it, so activate RCS thrusters and push ourselves that way. There we go. Okay. So as kind of recompense for forcing you to miss 2 orbits, I am now giving you the opportunity to watch 2 amazingly exciting docking maneuvers in space. Don't you feel lucky? I know I would. This is not entirely right. There we go. Okay. Back here. At 1 meter per second, 50 meters away. We're less than a minute away from the docking. So let's, I was almost said we could speed the thrusters up, but I might as well just fast forward time, truthfully. Remember how that EVA propellant saved us last time. Okay, can it slow us now? Come on. This is not going to be nearly as beautiful as the previous docking was, but it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be pretty, just get it done. It's a problem with these smaller docking nodes is that, well, actually that was pretty smooth, if I do say so myself. Now, instead of just regular crew transferring, we're going to be doing a little bit of work out here. So, Dan, sir, you get back into the command module, but Gemstead, you still have work to do. First off, we're going to have to take the data that's already in there. Second, I'm also remembering now that we did not take a crew report while we were landed down on the moon. That's extra science we're not going to get because of me. That's fine though. Let's collect this data, remove it, and then restore that. And then take the data from the thermometer. How do we not have these stored? So weird. Take that data, alright, and then collect this one too. Restore it. In the future, when we get space exploration, I'm going to be putting ladders on here so I don't have to keep ours maneuvered like this. Okay, log pressure data. Yep, space near the moon, we didn't have these. Keep that. Open the materials bay doors. I mean, observe materials bay. Space near the moon, keep it. Collect data. Take data. Observe mystery goo, space near the moon. Keep it. Collect it. I was just pushing keep it down on the surface and I thought that kept it, but it didn't. Alright, restore that. Restore that. There's no point in restoring it anymore, but you never know. Okay, now the thermometer. And that's it. Log the thermometer. Keep it. Collect it. Alright. We're coming home with a boatload of science. Hatches on the other side. Okay. Down. Get on down with your bad self. Cannot be stowed. Are you sure you want to continue? Which one? Mystery goo observation while in space near the moon. Oh yes, because we I think I did this in... Did I do this in flight? How can this not be stored? In the materials study in space near the moon. I already have these? Alright, well, it's easy enough to... It's easy enough to just redo it. So, okay, dump the experiments. And then let's quickly review what we have before we decide to depart. Temperature scan, space near the moon. Materials study from the moon's midlands. I took a second one just for the extra science. Mystery goo observation from the moon's midlands. We didn't have that the first time, so we came back for it. Surface sample from the moon's highlands. EVA from the moon's highlands. Mystery goo observation from the moon's highlands. Materials study from the highlands. Materials study from space near the moon. Temperature scan from the moon's highlands. Atmospheric pressure from the highlands. Mystery goo, space near the moon. Atmospheric pressure, space near the moon. That is everything. Except for the crew report that I forgot on the surface because I'm an idiot. Alright, well, in that case... Yep, it worked. Let's go ahead and fill up the fuel tanks. Gives us a bit of extra fuel to try and get home. And then let us all... There's nobody in here, right? Okay. Let us all wave a fond farewell to the Moonlander as it slowly drifts away into the lunar sunset. And let us all go home. I'm not even going to bother using a maneuver node for this. While I'm here, actually, are there any contracts that we can complete out here? Plant a flag, orbit of Kerbin, Minmus, orbital station around Kerbin, orbital station around the moon. Nah, alright. So we planted a flag on the moon, that was a contract. Let's just fly back home. Moves rather slowly out here when we're this low. 15, look at that. Look at how, you can't see it because it's dark. Ah, screw it. It would have been really cool seeing just how close we were to flying to the surface. That was basically Jeb's view of the entire mission. I might, you know, under better circumstances, I might have stopped and picked up Samri on our way home, but again, our capsule is full, so we can't do that. Oh well. We're gonna go home with a ton of fuel left. We're all gonna feel happier for it. Yay! Come on. Come on, give me an encounter. Or an escape, actually. There we go. We're on a bit of an incline, that's why it didn't come up so quickly. Alright, now we're gonna shoot ahead in a minute. Alright. Now I'm actually going to let us orbit all the way back to periapsis, because that's we're in the smallest danger of being recaptured by the moon. Right. Well, maybe not so much. And now we get to slow back down. And then from the lessons that we learned last time, we're going to try and bring us down to an altitude of a periapsis of 30,000 meters. Go away, sticky keys. I really got to remember to turn that off. Look at all that fuel we have left. So much fuel, I don't even know what to do with it all. It's nice to know that we have this, that we can very easily get out to the moon from now on. We might be performing several more missions while we're there, including rover missions. That's something that might be fun to perform. Try and carry a rover out there with us. 300,000. 200,000. 100,000. Alright, now we gotta do it slower. 75. 40. 35. Almost 35. Okay. Now I'm gonna quick save here, because this is a point where we can easily correct from if it turns out that this is not good enough. And let's go home. Oh, shoot. I think I just warped us through our... No, I didn't. Oh, wow, I stopped us just in time. Okay, I got nervous there for a sec. Alright. I'm going to use what's left of this fuel to slow us down as we re-enter. Right now. Just burn it all. Staging is not right. Got reset because of the docking. Looks like our flight is suborbital. Alright, I'm just going to cut this and detach. Alright. Let these things fall down now. 2,600 meters per second should be... We should be fine. And hopefully we'll make it down there in one lap this time, too. Yeah, look at our periapsis is shrinking down fast enough. And completely by accident, we might actually land in the near vicinity of Kerbal HQ. I didn't even plan that this time. But I am so happy about it. And again, the part of this game, I can honestly say that even though a lot of this game is very tedious, and it's, you know, you're out there making a bunch of micro maneuvers that you really rather just, you know, wouldn't bother with, I honestly enjoy every minute of it. I enjoy every second of it. Even the stuff like this where I'm literally just in real time watching the ship re-enter, and, you know, just pray that it won't burn up, even though I know it's not going to. Just waiting for the moment where, you know, it slows down enough for me to activate the parachute and then slowly let it drop back down to the surface. Recently, a lot of my thought processes are involved around this very bizarre idea that I have gotten. I have recently been wondering, I study education, by the way, pedagogy, also known as, and I've been trying to figure out a way, I'm trying to, you know, think of a way that I could sort of spin a knowledge in higher level, you know, educational studies, and how that could get me out onto a mission to Mars. How is it possible? How could I possibly manage to to get them to take me with them on the Mars colonization effort when that happens. It probably never will, because I'm not saying that educators are not necessary in certain societies, but you know, for everything that I could do for a lunar colony, or a Mars colony, they could probably just get a psychologist and you know somebody who's a bit more serious in the scientific aspect of the studies, and you know, I mean, stuff like, don't get me wrong, on a colony, things like, you know, human psychology, group dynamics, and that kind of stuff is absolutely crucial, but I don't know that, you know, education is something that you're going to have to worry about until much later on. Could you please open up now? Okay, good. There we go. Chutes are deployed. I'll fast forward us back down to the landing. Jettison the heat shield. Actually, we don't... We might as well. Although, if there's a chance of us recovering it, that's extra currency that we get back. Not that I'm all too hung up on currency for this. So the last thing we're going to do in this episode is I'm going to spend our points, of which we should have a metric ton. Mwah! Beautiful landing. Recover vessel. Wonderful job, everybody. There's 604 science, 640, 598 science. Where'd all that science come from? From all that extra science stuff that we did, I imagine. Is there anything that we got from... We got 0.1 science for recovering a vessel from orbit of the moons because, well, yeah. From orbit, by the way. See how it's recovered from orbit? Because the vessel that landed that we recovered never actually landed on the moon. And we got a ton of stuff, too. Sweet. Our pilots have all not... Well, they gained XP. Nobody leveled up. 2 XP for Dancer? Why only 2? Because she's already been out in orbit, I guess. Yeah, okay. Alright. Well, let's go spend our science points. We can actually spend more than I originally thought we could. And let's buy everything that we need in order to start building space stations. That's what I want right now. Number 1, we need space exploration, I believe. Yes. Number 2, we are going to need these docking ports up here. So that's 1 here, 1 here. And then we still have 300 points left. That's enough for 1 more tech. What'll it be? I could go for better landing, but considering we're not planning on... Our next couple of missions are going to be orbital construction, I'm just going to go for the... I'm going to go for heavy rocketry. Going to get us some good engines. There is the mainsail. There's my baby. She's going to get us up at a lot faster rate than that skipper does, that's for sure. And then these are the... these are going to be our new launch engines. Or this is the point where we're probably going to say farewell to solid fuel boosters for good. Although we do have enough science left to get, if we want, to buy one of these 90 science techs. Let's go ahead and get aerodynamics, considering that we do have an aviation mission that we want to accomplish sometime too. Let's do that. There. And now we're done. Thank you very much for joining, everybody. Next time, I'm finally going to get to do what I love doing so much. We're going to build a space station, or at the very least, we're going to start construction of the space station. Thank you very much for joining me for the Daily Kerbal, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.